Curious. You would make an excellent cephalon, Tenno.
Welcome to Cephalon Squared, a Warframe community and podcast. Join the community at Cephalon Squared on Twitter and Facebook, or send us a voice message via the Anchor app. Now, sit back and enjoy the show. Here are your Cephalons, Greg and Lucas.
G'day and welcome to episode 12 of Cephalon Squared. My name is Cephalon Greg. I am your host. I'm joined as always by Cephalon Lucas. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Very, very good. Let's smash right into things because there's a hell of a lot this week. We've got news, we've got a discussion topic, we've got community guest star. It's just packed to the brim, so let's go. I'm not sure if you can notice, but we have some new equipment. Well, I do. I got a new microphone for recording, so hopefully things sound much clearer and much better. We've also switched from recording via Anchor to recording by a software platform called Zencastr. So we're still distributing and everything via Anchor, but we're using Zencastr for recording. So hopefully everything sounds better. Please do let us know if it does or if it doesn't, because we do need to know whether things have improved or whether they've not improved. So yeah, new equipment. Yay! Next we have Inktober, which was something I had never even heard of, to be honest, but I'm not an artist, so I guess that's not... it is to be expected. Inktober is basically... It's kind of like... NaNiWriMo or whatever they call it, the National November Writing Month thing where you write every day for a month. Well, Inktober is you draw in ink every day for a month. So Warframe is supporting this, or Digital Extremes is supporting this via Warframe, and they've given a topic or something every day for people to draw to. And some of the early submissions are just amazing. I've had a look at a few in the forum. Have you looked at any, Lucas?
I have. I even saw a few get posted up on Primetime, and I know that Digital Extremes also showcased a lot of the Inktober stuff that they supported last year as well, and it's absolutely phenomenal. It's amazing the talent in the community.
Yeah, especially within one day. I mean, I was looking on day 1 and day 2, and just the fact that these people had sat there and drawn those things within one day, I wouldn't even know where to start. It'd take me a week to draw the first line. So there are some really talented people out there. So if you're an artist, there's no time like the present. So you miss the first few days, doesn't matter. Start now. Get involved. There is information on, of course, the Warframe forum, and we will put a link in the show notes when we have a website, which is coming soon. Surprisingly, the next
coming soon to a browser near you.
Yes, exactly. The next console update was off to cert and released all within the same week. It blew my mind. I think it went to cert on like Wednesday and was released on Friday, or it could have been Tuesday, but it was only a couple of days between submission and certification. Yeah.
It
I'm not going to complain.
It caught a lot of us off guard. I mean, jumping on one morning and all of a sudden seeing, oh look, cert's already agreed. Let's ship the update tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, we put the notes into, because of course we have notes for every episode, so we had our notes set, and up until about an hour ago, it was still saying that the console update was up to cert and it should be released next week, but no, it's already out, and you should be already doing the Pyrus project. Lucas and I smashed through it yesterday. It took us about 2, maybe 3 hours at most.
Yesterday?
We now have
it was a Friday night.
Cool.
Sunday.
What is today? Well, Sunday. You see, I don't even know. All the days are just melting into each other because, yeah, getting old. Nezha is also part of that. I did get the Nezha skin. It's beautiful. Tenergen 13 came out. We did get a couple of those pieces. Awesome.
Yeah.
Feel special.
Yeah, because someone got one as a bit of a birthday present. I wonder who from.
And they did. Yes. We'll wonder for a long, long time. No, you did get me the forgot what it's called, but it's the swords on the back thing, and it looks amazing, and I love it, and it looks especially cool on my Ash, who has the what's that skin called?
The Koga
Koga
skin.
Yeah, that looks fantastic. So thanks for that. It suits him
Yeah,
perfectly.
you're
I did
welcome.
see someone actually who used that Sayandana on the Nej Deluxe skin, and they coloured him in a very green kind of way and made him look like Leonardo from the Ninja Turtles. I'm going to try and do that. It looked fantastic. I think it was Neo. It looked
It's
really cool.
fantastic.
Anyway, and the last thing that came with that were the new Warframe augments, which is topical because today's discussion is about augments. So we'll get to that a little bit later. We were talking about the mainline last week, and during the week, Rebecca Ford got on to the forums and announced that the PC mainline is expected next week, which is this week coming. And that will include the elite alerts, which they're now calling arbitrations, which is going to be something that the Arbiters of Hexus is going to be requesting of us. The new gear wheel, infinite arcwing, whatever, the login changes, and a whole bunch more. So that is expected this week. And if you remember what we were talking about last week, it goes mainline, then Fortuna. So if the mainline comes this week, I think we're probably not wrong in saying that end of October would be Fortuna. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, or at least close within those upcoming weeks.
Yes, exactly. Next, it was actually today, I think, George Spanos from the sound team at DE shared a little snippet of some upcoming music from Fortuna. He shared that on Twitter. And the music is fantastic. I know you didn't get a chance to listen to it yet, Lucas, but definitely give it a try when you can. It's really very sort of retro synth, retro wave, whatever they call that kind of fairly popular music at the moment. Very sort of 80s techno synth style music. It's really, really cool. I will share, like I said, a link to that on the notes. But look up George Spanos on Twitter. And
Awesome. I'll probably look at that straight after the recording.
Yeah, I did confirm for any Australians that listen, DE will not be coming to PAX this year. I mean, it was pretty obvious. It's only a couple of weeks away. Sorry. So it's pretty obvious that they're not going to be coming, but they did confirm for me. But DE will be at TwitchCon in California and the Paris Games Week, of course, over in France. So if you live in either of those places, you do have a chance to catch up with DE. There is a forum post about that one as well. So during the week, on PC only, Barrow Katia had his 100th visit. There was a lot of talk about this. DE even gave away 350 ducats as part of the primetime Twitch drops, which worked for consoles as well. It's a little bit late now. You can't go and do it in hindsight, so a little too late, but I did manage to get it, and so did you, Lucas. Yay, us.
Yes.
Yeah, on his 100th visit, he brought a few new things, but nothing really interesting. He brought Primed Expel Corpus, Primed Expel Corrupted, Primed Expel Grenier, Primed Expel Infested, so they are the same as the Primed
Banes.
Bane of Corpus, Corrupted, Grenier, and Infested. But instead of working for your primary weapon, they work for your secondary weapon. So, yay, if you use those, now you can use them on your secondary weapon as well. He also brought the Harkonar Wraith Cloak. I love the name Harkonar because it reminds me of June. He brought the Katir Cornu Diadem, which is a little dealie that goes on your operator's head, and a Lyset Sidonia skin. Do you think this was worth all the hype of the 100th visit, Lucas?
Well, I actually seen the cloak, the diadem, or the Sidonia skin, so I don't know exactly how they tie in with the fashion frame side of things. But the mods, no, I'm sorry, but just no, not worth the hype. If it had been something more like a primed
Serration.
a price serration, yeah, or something like that. Something that that people are actually going to want to go out of their way and get. I mean, okay, if you're a collector, then sure, these expel mods are collectibles. And if you do have that whole mindset of swapping out mods to fit specific enemy types, then yeah, okay, you've got that for you as well. But me personally, I don't build my weapons that way, and I'm not that big of a collector on mods. If a new mod, then yay, awesome, new shiny mod. Otherwise,
Yeah,
yeah.
you'd have to be really sort of hardcore to be switching mods like that. And there are plenty of people out there that do that. Good luck to them, but it's not me either. I would have loved to have seen Primed Stretch. That would have been fantastic. Primed Serration, something like that. So that would have really been worth 100 visit. But I mean, on the other side, he did bring, I think it was Primed Point Blank or Point Strike or one of the other big, really popular primed mods that people would be looking for. So he brought a couple of those as well. So I think it was worthwhile as a 100th visit, but to talk it up like he was going to have some awesome new things and to give away 350 ducats so that you could afford to buy the new stuff he was bringing, and to only bring these Expel Corpus was a little bit of a letdown. So there were a lot of people on the net that were a bit disappointed about that. But in reality, it was probably a pretty good visit overall, but it just wasn't worth all the hype. Anyway, the last little bit of news update for this week is a podcast update. So for us, of course, we've got the new equipment, which is great, but we also have some new stuff coming down the pipeline. Every week we're going to start releasing a smaller episode within the middle of the week, which we're just calling mini episodes. Couldn't come up with a cleverer name because I'm not a clever person. So these mini episodes were actually Cephalon Lars's idea. He said, why don't you guys start doing like a modder's guide to the galaxy, was his suggestion. So we thought that was actually a pretty good idea. So we can just talk about one thing in terms of modding within each week. It can be a 10-minute show, 15-minute show. It might even only be a 5-minute show. But we just talk about, for example, modding rifles or modding Sarin or whatever the case may be. So that's
Here we go.
this week.
Here you go. On the spot.
Yeah.
On the spot. Cephalon data drops.
Cephalon data
Yep.
drops. Okay. That was an on the spot
Yep.
name. Very on the spot. You took me by surprise. Well, that's not a terrible name, but as you know, we have already had our recording voice guy record the intro to the episode, so it's a little bit late. But we can still call him that. And apart from that, we are working on the first spoiler cast. So the spoiler cast, of course, is going into the lore and topics that we prefer not to talk about on the everyday show or the every week show. And the first one is going to be in a couple of weeks, and we're going to release them every 5 episodes, as long as everything goes well, starting in the week of episode 15. So it'll be released alongside the standard episode, so there'll be episode 15, and then in the middle of the week, we'll skip the mini episode for that week, and we'll release Spoilercast number 1 instead. So 2 things to look forward to: mini episodes in the middle of every week, and every 5 weeks there'll be a Spoilercast instead of a mini episode.
Hopefully.
Cool. Yay! Hopefully it's good stuff. We're open to more questions as well. So it is a lot of work, but we're getting there. We're doing what we can, and hopefully it is what you want. So let's look at our discussion for this week. This was your choice of discussion, Lucas. It is a good one. Augment mods. What the hell are they? Are they
Augment
worth
mods? Well, that is a good question.
Are they worth putting on your Warframe? And, could they be better? What are our favourite ones? So, for my perspective, I like Valkyr. I like to use both Eternal War and Hysteria. What's the Hysteria one called? Endless Hysteria?
You should know I'm terrible names.
Yeah. Endless Hysteria, something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but I like to use those ones. I did just start using Sarin Prime only last night. And Lucas pointed out that, what's it called? We bought it last night and I can't even remember.
Ooh, regenerative malt.
Yes, regenerative malt is basically, you need it. So what that one does in particular is every time you use malt, you regenerate 10 health per second for 10 seconds.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
50 seconds.
It's 10 seconds.
10 health or 50 health? Because I remember thinking, that works out to be 500 health in 10 seconds. Must be 50
This is
health
where it's
per
good to
second for
have
10 seconds.
the game up in front of me.
Shaking my fist at my brain.
Let's-
Yeah. But anyway, while you're looking for that, these are examples of really good augment mods that really change things, because something like that for Saren means you don't really need to have vitality or any of those sustainability mods on her at all. You can work on increasing her range, you can work on increasing duration, increasing her power. And all of those need, a whole bunch of different mods that you can focus on, rather than increasing your armor and your health and things like that. So there are certain augment mods that are absolutely amazing, and there are a whole bunch that are less amazing. So, Lucas,
So you were right. It is 50 health every 10 seconds.
50 health.
50 health every 10 seconds. So it's a pretty hefty amount. And the Valkyr one you were talking about, Hysterical Assault.
Yes, that's one. Hysterical Assault, not Endless Hysteria, because that's just Endless War.
Yeah.
Yes, Hysterical Assault's really good because it basically gives you Endless Hysteria.
Yeah. So essentially, what augment mods are is that they are specific mods that go to specific frames, and they kind of alter up the abilities of that said frame, just to kind of change the way the play style of that frame goes. So, yeah, as Greg just said, there are some great ones that are absolutely amazing. For example, Regenerative Molt. When we both did a Saren run through Ophelia Uranus Survival last night, I actually did not have Vitality equipped to my Saren, so I was just running the Regenerative Molt, and I was sitting 350 health the entire mission. Yeah, didn't drop once. We went for 25 minutes, 25, 30 minutes. Yeah. So, we didn't do a large endurance run, but we just did a basic, 20-minute run. And through just the two of us, throughout that entire 20 minutes, not a single drop. So, there are definitely augment mods that, in our opinion, are pretty much staples. And then there are others that you just kind of look at and think, why?
Yeah, there are a few that I do think why. But on that sort of disclaimer note, there are reasons people might want to use them. So there are probably people out there that like to use... I can't even think. I should have looked up a shitty mod. Have you got an example of one that you didn't like?
I wouldn't say it's not one. I wouldn't say it's one I don't like. I would say it's more one that I don't. The ability itself that this mod is for, I just don't see the point of. It's actually for Chroma. I should have this one up somewhere if I knew which syndicate gave it away. Damn it!
Well,
look at us, so organized.
Look, there's a new one that came out for Avara recently, which was for her quiver, empowered quiver. And it had two effects, two potential effects. So basically, for her dash wire, every time you use that, it grants your allies 100% critical damage, which is a good thing if you ever use dash wire. I don't think anyone ever does.
Not really. I mean, yes, but no.
The other thing is Cloak Arrow. So it gives 100% critical damage for dash wire, and it gives 100% chance to prevent status effects on Cloak Arrow. Yeah. That's really good. 100% chance to prevent status effects for Cloak Arrow is actually really good, because status is a pain in the ass, especially at higher levels. But is that enough to replace all your other mods for Avara? Especially when she's got some other really, really good mods to put on her as well. So things like that are kind of wishy-washy. They've got their use. It's probably a very sort of specific use. The Cloak Arrow one, I think, is pretty good, to be honest, but I probably wouldn't use that so much. It'd be good to have in my quiver, so to speak. Funny jokes. Did you find one while I was rambling?
I did. Guided Effigy for Chroma. Yes. Now, the effigy alone for Chroma, I love the idea, I love the concept of it, but the execution is a bit lackluster. And I know guided effigy is a way to kind of spice it up and give it a bit more flair, but at the end of the day, it doesn't do that. It's not. You can't really build um, a working meta build around guided effigy. It just makes you be able to move your drone around, and whenever it flies to a location, if there's enemies in that area, it slams into them, dealing extra damage, and knocks them over. Being able to move your dragon, that's cool, but it's, in my opinion, this is something that should already be in the effigy ability, not an add-on through a mod.
And I guess that's the same with the recent Octavia one for Conductor, where you can command her resonator to move at your pointer. That's another one that should be an innate ability of that ability. And why would you want to use a whole mod slot just to be able to move your friggin' resonator? It doesn't make much sense to me. In the same way that you should be able to
there's
move
a few other ones that I kind of think are a bit questionable. I mean, looking at Titania and her lantern augment, Bling Lantern. So when you do Titania's lantern ability, you select an enemy, that enemy starts floating around, and it kind of tracks. It basically turns into a giant bug zapper. The enemies get close to it, and they start taking damage from all the fireflies that fly around it. So what Beguiling Lantern does, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and don't really care, to be honest. So what this mod does, Beguiling, whatever. What the mod does, it actually increases the melee damage on attracted enemies by 100%. What?
Yay.
This is a mod that literally turns an enemy into a giant bug zapper, and charmed enemies take extra melee damage. Okay, extra melee damage is good, but I feel like they've just missed a major opportunity. Like, what if instead they made it like a virus kind of thing? So the first enemy starts floating away, then the enemies start grouping around it and slowly get infected by, I don't know, other extra slash procs from the fireflies, or maybe even pass on the ability. So after 10 or so seconds, you've got a maximum of 4 floating lanterns that are just attracting enemies.
I think you've been using your Revenant a little bit too much recently.
Shush.
Got addicted to those little dudes.
They're amazing.
But yeah, that's a fantastic idea, to be honest. But it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. Plus, sometimes these augment mods can become completely useless when a change is made. So you gave me an example.
Yes, with Zephyr. So before Zephyr had its her rework, and we should all know by now that Zephyr is one of my top frames. She's glorious, especially with those new wings that I gave her. And if you haven't seen it yet, check out the Facebook. I will post a picture up so you can all see it. It's amazing.
You haven't posted a picture there in a while.
I did last week sometime.
You're our resident picture
I know,
taker.
I've just been busy.
I never do it. I'm so lazy.
So yeah, look.
We should do a fashion frame competition in the future.
That is an amazing idea. Why haven't we done this yet?
We are done.
Well, speak for yourself. I mean, continuing on. So before Zephyr had her rework, her first and second ability were so Dive Bomb was not a part of her first ability like it is now. Dive Bomb was actually her second ability, so it was separated. And at that point, there was for all 4 of her abilities. So you have your target fixation, which has not changed since the update, and that just gives so with Tailwind, when you activate it, enemy hit by Tailwind increases the damage caused by the fly through by 50% by each enemy, and damage resets landing. So that's all.
Which is a useless example in itself, because realistically, all you're using Tailwind for is to get
Oh yeah,
across the screen.
yeah, transportation. I mean, if they hit an enemy along the way, then yay.
Yeah, but it's not the
And
goal.
the way the dive bomb used to work, and I actually put dive bomb in one of my builds just for shits and gigs because it was quite funny, is it would actually act as a vortex and suck enemies into the dive bomb. So as they're coming down, you'd see like a mini vortex open up towards the ground underneath you, and it would suck enemies in like a vacuum as you hit. It was fantastic. You just ragdoll enemies.
Yeah, I mean, that realistically, if that was built into Dive Bomb in the first place, she might not have had the
Possibly.
changes she had.
Possibly, but you know, I welcome the changes that were made. Absolutely. But in doing these, they removed the dive bomb augment. It's gone from the game completely. You cannot acquire the mod anymore. So now all they've got left is the tailwinds target fixation, the jet streams turbulence augment, and funnel clouds for tornado. So that now leaves a gap that they have to fill for the new airburst ability that they gave Zephyr in that dive bomb place. And I actually did have a bit of an interesting idea for how they could fill this gap, and hopefully someone at DE hears this and tries to implement something similar at least. But looking at like the funnel clouds for Tornado, when you cast Tornado with that funnel clouds equipped, it actually, instead of having your 3 normal sized or 4 normal sized tornadoes, it's them into smaller tornadoes. So I think there's about 9 tornadoes in total when you do it. And they don't have the ability to lift enemies up into the air. It's just a hold enemies in place kind of thing. And I know a lot of people use this with corrosive damage to just strip armor and just actually strip the armor off enemies, which is fantastic. No. But the idea I had was that with the airburst, without any augments for the airburst, you cast it on your tornado, you double the tornado in size. So what if they kind of took that connectivity to another ability and combined it with the airburst? So let's say on casting the airburst, it hits the tornadoes, and the tornado stays the same size, but 3 smaller tornadoes appear around the base of it, and those 3 tornadoes can't lift enemies up, but they can hold them in place. So I think something like this would be welcome, because it stops the dragging of enemies around, and making them out of reach for everyone. You may still get a few that get lifted into the air because you've still got the normal sized tornadoes there, but then there are also those smaller ones that can enemies in place. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. I think this would be fantastic, in my opinion. Something like this. No. So yeah, they whenever they do an up like that changes a character's abilities in such a drastic manner, they will remove augments and leave gaps for new ones.
It's not a bad idea.
So yeah. If any of your listeners have any awesome ideas about what kind of augment abilities that they would like to see in the game, just let us know, because I would absolutely love to hear all the creative ideas. I mean, we have had a few creative ideas about Warframe concepts and whatnot over the last few months, and it was fantastic hearing from you guys. So throw in your 2 cents.
Actually, it's probably not a bad idea. Whenever you do have an idea like that for an augment, for an ability, or for a new Warframe or anything like that, send it to us. You will hear all the different ways you can get in contact with us at the end of the episode. As you do, send it to us, and we might create a new segment of the show where we talk about listener ideas and have a bit of a comment about how cool that could be. I don't think that's a bad idea, to be honest. I think that's a really cool idea. talk about different augments and things. So these are augments. Augments are basically Warframe specific, and not just Warframe specific, but ability specific mods that augment or change the way that that ability works. Are they useful? Not all the time, but it's always situation specific. You could have a lot of fun using something that we probably think in general is not a very great idea. Could still be fun for a little while, but yeah, and also, sometimes just in combination with other warframes, sometimes these little things that don't seem to make sense on their own might make more sense when coupled with other things as well. So try them all out. You can only get them from the syndicates. You have to purchase them from the syndicates, and different syndicates have different mods for different warframes, but you can share amongst your friends. Lucas has, all of the syndicates that I don't have, and I have all the syndicates he doesn't have. So whenever he needs something, he asks me, and whenever I need something, I ask him. So there are ways to get them. Plus, you can generally buy them for about 20 or 25 plat. They're not that expensive, but they're really worth looking into. Anyway.
Yeah, and just keep in mind, our opinions are our opinions. So if we say something you don't agree with, and just take it as a grain of salt.
More than a grain, if you like salt. It's up to you. Anyway, it's a terrible joke, but I'm sticking with it. I'm staying by its side because it was mine.
Well.
We have an interview coming up. So we have one of our community guys who got in contact with us and said, "Hey, I'd love to be on the show." And his name is Andrew Harrison. He is on our Discord. He's also on our Facebook. He's a fairly active member of the community, and we love him. He's also a personal friend of mine. I've known him for a few years through a number of different pursuits. He's a great guy, and he wanted to be on the show. So remember, if you want to be on the show, you can also reach out to us and ask. We don't have any interviews coming up, so if you would like to be on there, send us an email or a tweet or whatever the hell you'd like to do. So on with Harry. We'll be back.
Okay, so we have a community guest star this week. This week we have Harry joining us. So Harry is a member of our Discord, and he is an active member of Facebook as well, and someone I know as well in my personal life. Harry's a good bloke, and we actually went to the Warframe, what was it called, 10.0 VIP last year, which was pretty cool down in Melbourne, and we got to meet a couple of the devs, really the community team. That was pretty cool. So welcome, Harry. Hello.
Thanks for having me.
No worries.
Welcome aboard.
So I guess first things first, what sort of got you into Warframe? Where do you come from in the Warframe world?
All right. Started on PC, not very long after it started, I believe. I think it was too late to get the Founders Pack, but too soon to know what was really going on. When it came out on the Xbox, I was waiting for that with bated breath and have been playing it there since release. But I don't think we got a Founders on there.
No, I don't think there was. I think there was some sort of similar pack, but it didn't have Xcal Prime or anything like that on either of the console platforms, which is good, I guess, because I would feel really shitty about not having it.
Oh, yeah. We got Umbra. It's all right.
Yeah, that's true. Umbra is better than Xcal Prime anyway, and Excalibur Prime looks pretty ugly if you ask me. That's just me. I'm sure someone's going to freaking tell me I'm wrong. But that's all right. I might be.
It's all about the fashion frame.
It's all about the fashion frame, exactly. So obviously you play on Xbox now. Do you still play on your PC?
I log on every now and then, not so much to play, more so just to experience the things the couple of weeks before the consoles get it.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Sneaky. I like it.
What's your mastery on PC?
PC's 16.
Shit, that's pretty good. And
Xbox is just shy of 19.
Ooh, hard worker.
Yeah, you put in a fair bit of effort into both of them. Good work.
Good job. Yeah. So tell us about some of your favorite frames and weapons.
All right. Favorite frames. Inaros is my big go-to. The ability to stack health and build around longer bleed out, so you stay in that coffin for longer, draining health from everything around you.
Yeah,
It just makes him indestructible. I love it.
fantastic.
He's cool.
Mirage Prime probably is my DPS. I think I used him too much when the weapon you got from Cephalon Suda was just OP as high hell.
Mirage is totally a chick, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, well.
But yes, she is all about the DPS because you can make 5 of her.
Yeah. Yeah, just black hole every shot.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And that black hole gun is actually quite fun.
Yeah. It still is good. Granted, you got to blow them up manually, but it still does its job.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually think I used it about a month ago now. Had an absolute ball with it. It was fantastic using it. I probably should go back and revisit it, try to get a proper build for it, but I just didn't see it as being a long-term gun to use. So, but no, it was definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah, for me, I'm not one that likes those ones you have to detonate yourself. It is a powerful weapon, but damn, it annoys me. But it is pretty fun. I'm a simple guy. So at the current state of the game, which has been languishing a little bit, although we did get Revenant and we got Frame Fighter and shit like that not recently. What do you enjoy most?
Such a broad answer. Everything would be cheating, so I won't go there.
Fanboy alert.
Yeah, absolutely. To go against the populace, I'm going to say Arcwing.
Ooh.
I don't think it's quite there, but I enjoy it. I enjoy what it could be.
The concept. Okay,
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
That's a great answer.
I like the concept of the Arcwing. I think the execution is a bit lackluster, but no, the concept is pretty good. So no, I agree. It's
I love the concept. We had a guy that I was helping out last night who's just a new guy to our clan, and he is looking forward to unlocking his Arcwing because he thinks it's going to be amazing. I tried not to discourage him from continuing along those lines because, hey, it can be amazing. I loved it when I first unlocked the damn thing. Didn't take too long to change
Yeah, it became a bit not grindy.
It's fun on the plains.
Yeah.
Makes more sense there.
It's more of a taxi service there, though, than anything.
Yeah, it is, which is a bit of a pain in the ass, but that's why I'm looking forward to K-Drive. That'll be my new taxi.
I'm going to be all over that.
Oh yeah, definitely K-Drive. I'll tell you what will be good though, is when they eventually bring out the Railjack. I think Arcwing may actually shine with the Railjack system.
Yeah, you're probably right. You'll be able to leave the ship and shoot shit.
Yes, so it's a possibility. Guess we'll just have to wait and see when Railjack finally gets released.
Yeah, whenever that is.
Next century.
Yeah, looks so far away.
Does.
But it might not be. You never know. Fuck, they could surprise us. You know what D's like.
Yeah, but as I've said before to you, Greg, I want them to actually polish Railjack before they release it. I don't want them to release a broken tool into the game. I want them to release something polished and refined, because otherwise it's just going to be a disappointment and people aren't going to want to do it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right, so that's all the usual straightforward questions. Do you have a surprise discussion topic?
All right. As much as I love the spy missions and the way you can use them to level up things that are hard to do so, well, not so much hard, but time consuming, they're boring as hell.
See, I'm with you on that.
There needs to be a little bit of difference.
Yeah, I'll agree with you, because they, especially once you've done them all a million times, it's frustrating because you know exactly how to do them, and it's time consuming, and you just can't be asked, basically.
Yeah.
There are some people that like stealth and that's their favorite game mode, though. But those people are mostly a little bit crazy. They're not really. We all have our different preferences, but I'm the same. I really don't enjoy Spy. But we did give you a call out, I think, on episode 8.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was you. Thanks, Harry.
Cephalon cookie.
Show. You got a cookie call out, indeed.
Cookie
Was it a good
call
cookie?
out.
Do you enjoy the cookie?
I love cookies, mate. Can't get enough of them.
What are your thoughts, Lucas?
Well, I'm a big stealth gamer. I love stealth, but I have to agree. I'm at the point now. Whenever I do a spy, I'll just jump in limbo, jump into the void, and power through, do a speed run. So, and I'm totally there with you. Spies are pretty lackluster. Although there's the lure spy, and that's got some very interesting mechanics. It's a major pain in the ass.
I hate it when the lure spies are on the sortie for the day because I just give up.
Yeah.
Just take Wukong and use his cloud thing to go through it all.
Yeah. Well, that's not something I would have thought of.
There you go. Thanks, Harry.
Yeah, you can skip most of them.
Well, shit.
I think one of them's still a bit of a pain, but I'm sure there's 2 of them that you can sort of just cloud and float up to where you need to be and uncloud.
Wow.
Interesting.
Mind blown.
Yeah, Wukong. Wukong has another use. Fantastic.
Give that a test now. That's good. Yeah, Wukong needs a bit more love.
It needs a lot of love.
When he was announced, I was so excited, and then went, "Oh, that's a shame."
I mean,
and his design's a bit funny as well. I would have liked him to have been designed after the Monkey Magic show. That's just me. But so, what do you think they can do to fix Spy? What's your thoughts, Mr. Harry?
Well, even if they, and don't get me wrong, it'd be a lot of work to maybe do this, but if they punched out half a dozen more spy objectives and had them on a rotation, like on the maps, I don't know what sort of work would have to go in to make them periodically generated. But if they changed, at least you wouldn't be getting there going, all right, I've done these 2, this is the 3rd one that I've got left, and knowing it at least mix it up that little bit.
Yeah, so if each planet had more spies in their tile set, more spy sections, so that way you can mix it up a bit more. Yeah, I agree that could be a solution, but in the end...
I think it'd fall into the same category.
Yeah. It's hard to say, really, because you kind of have to be stealthy. Sometimes you've got to use invisibility. You've got to avoid the cameras and things. But once you're heavily OP in the end game, you can just kill the cameras.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I take Limbo. If you've actually got a max range Limbo, you walk into a room and you can see cameras are there, you cast Cataclysm, and just the casting of Cataclysm actually blows the cameras up.
Yep. I used to do the same thing with Ember Prime.
Yeah.
With World on Fire before they changed it.
Yeah. So, yeah, cameras are easy to deal with. Limbo can walk straight through the lasers without setting off the alarms, so you don't have to worry about that. I think they need more of more of an obstacle, realistically, because it's too easy to just be able to run in, blow everything up, and then get the data. You need different obstacles. So maybe
everywhere.
Yeah, maybe do something, kind of give it a bit of like I don't want to say raid mechanic, but I'm going to say raid mechanic, where maybe you run to one end of the room, you have to do one puzzle room first, and at the end of that puzzle room that deactivates one of the security doors, and you can go through the next door into the second puzzle room, finish that off. That unlocks the third security door. Something like that. Just
you're saying like randomize the spy itself, so rather than it just being one puzzle, it's actually a puzzle comprised of separate puzzles that can be randomized individually.
Exactly right.
Yeah, that could work. Mm-hmm. At least it would make it a bit more interesting. The power creep part's hard to hard to deal with. But that
Mm.
you're a thinker. I had no ideas. Lucas is on the case.
I like that.
I'm always on the case. I am a thinker.
That's why I need you on the show. Solitary tear. Alrighty, so thank you, Andrew, for coming on the show. And I guess, do you have anything you wanted to plug? Any self-promotion you wanted to do? Twitter, website, Twitch stream? What is it? Anything for yourself?
No, nothing much.
Nothing? You're just happy to come on and say, hey!
Yeah, I'll have a bit of a chat.
Yeah, no worries. And thank you for being active in both Discord and Facebook. It's good to see when, people are active there. We actually have something, we actually have a bit of communication, and things have been pretty active, especially in the Discord recently. So thanks for that, mate.
Not a problem.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Hope we get the opportunity again further down the track.
Okay, thank you to Andrew. And again, if you're interested, send us an email, let us know. We'd love to have you on the show. Just a few questions, nothing big. It's a bit of fun, really, just to meet our community and find out a little bit more about who they are. But anyway, let's get into the rest of the episode. I've decided to do some more lore this week. So, heading into the spoiler cast that I mentioned at the start of the episode, we realized that the first few quests probably really aren't spoilers that much. So before we get into the spoiler quest, I would like to get through a little bit of the early lore, so that by the time we start the first spoiler podcast, because we will be starting at the first sort of spoilery section of the lore, I'd like to have the rest of the stuff out of the way. So today I'm going to talk about Vor's Prize. The interesting thing about Vor's Prize is that it was only added into the game about 1 or 2 years ago. Maybe a little bit more than 1 year ago, 2 to 3 years ago. For people who started playing the game right from the start, there was no training, there was no story, there was no nothing at the start of the game. So there are probably a lot of people out there who haven't even played Vor's Prize. There are a lot of newer players who definitely have and might be surprised by that. But me explaining what's happening here in Vor's Prize is not just a primer for beginners to explain, what the hell's going on, but it's also good for some of those other people who probably have never played it, or maybe they did create themselves an extra account just to go through it themselves. But here goes. So, Captain Vor, he was an admiral, actually, of the Grenier. Just a little backstory into Captain Vor. He's always loved the Orokin. He's been collecting stuff. He's been researching them. Part of his armor is actually made of Orokin tech, or Orokin crossed with Grenier tech. He's got a Janus key that he uses to power up his armor, which is why he has a shield and things like that. So he has been looking to collect warframes. So he was sent out to kill warframes before they woke up, because the Queen started discovering that there were warframes throughout the galaxy, and basically they are obviously afraid of the warframes for reasons that are spoilers, and basically they sent him out to go and kill them, and he decided, you know what, I can do more than just kill them. I can capture them, and I can be a hero to the Queens. But he stuffed up. They didn't like that. They demoted him from admiral down to captain. They busted his ass down. And essentially, what I believed happened that he was sent to destroy another warframe on Earth. But Lucas pointed out to me recently that when he gets there, he actually has a bit of a kerfuffle with another guy who's there to take the warframe as a prize. So either, and it's never really explained in the lore, either he was sent there as well, like it's basically a bounty, and anyone who gets there first collects the bounty, or this other guy was sent there and Vor decided, stuff that shit, I'm going to go capture me a warframe, and he bumped in. So I'd like to think that the second one is what happened. He's gone, screw that guy, he's a piece of shit, I'm Captain Vor, I'm going to go in, I've got this Ascaris Negator, I'm going to capture this warframe. So anyway, that's what he plans to do. He plans to capture the Warframe using what's called an Ascaris device. I think he made it. Again, it's something that the lore doesn't really go into. But discovering that this is about to happen, the Lotus awakens the Warframe, and that's when you start the game, allowing yourself to sort of fight back and escape and run through and pick yourself up some weapons and things like that. Now, in the area where your Warframe is situated, there was a Lyset that was actually your Lyset. Captain Vor discovered this and destroyed it. However, the Lotus also finds that there's an older Orokin era model nearby. So the Lyset that we actually end up on is an older model of the Lyset, which is something that I find interesting, but kind of pointless. The onboard Cephalon is still enabled. So this is, of course, Cephalon Ordis, and he is able to power up the ship, which enables it to escape. But of course, when you get on there, many of the onboard components were looted over the years by the Grineers. So your job initially, after you do get on that ship after being awakened, is to find the components to make the ship a bit more functional. And your initial plan is to start with communications. So you go out, you find a communications component, you put it in your ship. The next realization is that, you know what, you've got this funky device on you. It's obviously not a good thing. You need to find someone who deals in weapons. So the Lotus suggests you go out and talk to a locally imprisoned arms dealer named Darvo. Good old Darvo. And ideally what you're doing with him is you're looking to increase your arsenal. So you go out there looking for Darvo, trying to save him. But while you're doing so, Vor takes over your Warframe. He's not able to take over completely, but he halves your shields while you're out there, and he demonstrates that he has some capacity to control you. During this time, he refers to the Void as the divine energy and to Warframes as the glass through which the divine energy is focused. Now, the reason I included this is because I think it's really sort of cool, a little bit of lore. Vor does sort of think he is the guy who understands the Void. So referring it as to divine energy and to the Warframes as the glass through which the divine energy is focused is a really sort of forward-thinking concept at the very start of the game. Probably meant nothing to anybody, but anyone who has played the game now probably would look at that and think, wow, that's kind of interesting. I didn't notice that when we first started playing. So, on rescuing Darvo, the Tenno is gifted the Ascaris Negator as thanks. So why does Darvo have this? Well, the Ascaris Negator is actually just based on Corpus restraint technology that they use on their mowers. So it's pretty standard stuff, and the Negator is pretty standard stuff as well. So Darvo just happens to have one, and he gives the Tenno one as thanks. But of course, you can't build it yet because you don't have a foundry, and you don't have mods, and you don't have resources. So off you go to find all of these things, foundry components, mod components, etc., etc., etc. So while you're out getting the foundry component, you find that the Grineer has actually destroyed the colony on the ship that you are on. So the Lotus tells you to exterminate everyone as punishment, which is kind of interesting. But you don't have all the resources to build the damn Negator once you've built your foundry. So the Tenno needs to find the resources. The good thing is Darvo, being the shady guy that he is, he has mates around the galaxy, and he knows that there are some places around Earth that have the resources that you need. So he gives you the coordinates to find the supply caches, and you go out looking for them. That's the next couple of missions. So while you're doing these missions, Vor actually manages to take full control of your Warframe very briefly. Just to show you that, hey, things are progressing, you're screwed, you might want to sort this shit out pretty soon. And he basically says, soon you'll be fully under his control. Basically what he actually says to them is, soon you'll return to me, and not to your precious Lotus or something like that. So he's basically saying, against your will, you'll be coming to me, buddy. So it's basically at this point that you realize you need to fix shit and you need to get it sorted soon. So you get back to the ship, you build your Negator, you remove the Ascaris, you celebrate for about 5 seconds, but you discover that Vor had actually built a failsafe into the Ascaris. So it wasn't just restraint technology, he'd built something extra into it. He built something that burrows into you and then goes to basically try and kill you and take over you. So unless you can take out Vor, who has the controller for this, you're screwed. So it's not over yet. So basically that's what you got to do. You got to find Vor, but you don't know where Vor is. So there is a local Grineer galleon nearby, and Lotus basically says, go find that galleon, get into their navigation console, steal their nav console, bring it back to the ship, and you'll be able to find basically on their star map where Vor is. So that's what you do. And it's wonderful that all of this technology just happens to work together, even though you're in an Orokin era Lyset. But hey, that's just a plot hole. Who am I? On discovering the nav component, Lotus realized the galleon is actually on course to destroy a convoy full of innocents. So you're given a choice at this point of the game. You can either evacuate immediately and leave the colony to its fate, or you can destroy the reactor and prevent the collision. Whatever you choose to do doesn't actually matter. It has no impact on the game. It's kind of interesting that they included that. Regardless, you find that Vor is located on a nearby mining asteroid and that he doesn't have his elite guard with him, so it's the perfect time to go there, kick his ass. He's not that hard. Get the shit you need, end the threat of the Ascaris, and at the end of that mission, you are therefore free to continue working alongside the Lotus, or basically, she doesn't suggest that you need to work alongside her. She basically says, have at you. The origin system is up to you. Do what you need to do. And that is the point where the game stops holding your hand. That's the point where the game stops saying, hey, this is how you do things. This is your next step. This is what you need to do. And everything sort of goes awry, so to speak. So it was when I took notes for Vor's prize, I didn't realize how much was actually involved in it, but it's really simple. Vor tries to capture you. He puts a component on you. You go searching for all of the components in order to be able to remove that, only to discover that something's burrowed into your brain and is going to kill you. So you hunt down Vor and you kill him. That's about it. Anyway, anything else that you found interesting from Vor's prize or you wanted to mention, Lucas?
Actually, there was one thing I wanted to mention, and I just realized this when you were talking about the Orokin era Lisette that was found nearby. Recently, we actually mentioned this a few recordings ago that Steve had leaked a little bit of script for some maybe possible upcoming
Yes.
lore-based mission.
Yep.
And it had a lot to do with Ortis and some of the things that Ortis may have gone through over the years. And I'm actually starting to think that may tie into why the Lisette was on Earth. And
Yeah, could do.
Yeah, so that's actually a bit interesting. But apart from that, there wasn't really much more to add. I mean, it is interesting that they never really gave like a they never really gave that mission proper meaning where you choose to let them live or die. I mean, that's kind of strange that they never did that.
Yeah, and they never really... I mean, there are missions where you go in and you're doing a spy or something, and then halfway through it becomes an exterminate. But there was no... That was the only time in all of Warframe that you were ever given an ultimatum or a choice at the end of a mission. And when I was playing the training and when I was playing the training, I thought that was a really interesting choice, and they could have done something with that.
Yeah.
They could have given you different rewards. It could have factored into what later comes down as the what's it called, the moral choices.
Yeah, well, basically
the factors into the
moral
game.
compass.
Yeah, the moral compass. That's the one that factors into the game later. All of these different things, and they could have built it into other missions as well, just to sort of shake things up a little bit. Apart from the annoying stop what you're doing now, kill everyone, exterminate missions that happen.
I think they happen because you trip the alarm one too many times. It's kind of like, well, shit, people know you're here now, so you can't really call it a spy.
Yeah, which makes sense. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed about that. I mean, it's not a bad introduction, and digging through the lore. So I mean, because we're preparing for this spoiler cast, and because of some other stuff that we're preparing for the future, digging into the lore is just absolutely nuts. There's a hell of a lot to it, even just about Captain Vor. There's pages upon pages upon pages of background story to him and to tangentially related people to him and to the queens and to everything else. Yeah, it's actually quite complex, and there's a lot of missing pieces. De.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
So
Oh yes. Lots of missing pieces. Actually, one more thing I did want to say at the Vor going to planet Earth at the beginning of the game. I would like to think that it was out of just his own desire to prove
ambition.
himself to the queens again and try get back his
Yeah.
get back his status as admiral. But only DE can really tell us exactly what the deal is.
Well, if you look at the lore behind Vor, he's extremely ambitious, but he's also extremely loyal to his queens. So even though he was sort of disobeying what they were asking of him, he was still doing that because he thought that would be the best thing in the long term for his queens. He wanted to show them that he could do, he could capture them or whatever. He wasn't doing it because he wanted to usurp the queens.
No, a few points actually sounded a bit like he had a little bit of a love interest for the queens, in my opinion, which was kind of
Interesting.
kind of weird.
I didn't get that vibe, but maybe it's there. I'll have to go back and revisit. But anyway, that was the beginner's tip or topic for this week, with some lore. Depending on what we're doing next week, I may go into the next one, which I think is Once Awake. We shall see how we go. But let's head into Lucas's advanced topic this week. You are starting a new multi-part topic. Take it away.
Yes, and so what I'm actually going to do over the next couple of weeks is go into the kill squad, or the Tenno hunting squad to be precise. And I thought it would be a good topic, especially with the Pyrus event just coming out, the Pyrus project, and kind of giving us another reason to face the Grustag 3. So this was the inspiration behind this. So part one, I'm actually going to be going over the Grustag 3, which are also known as the G3, and they're essentially just a band of Grineer assassins who operate under the orders of Vahek. The G3 made an appearance during the recent Pyrus project, and they were actually a key factor. You had to kill them 3 times to be able to cross off one of the tasks. But apart from the Pyrus project, there are 2 ways to actually trigger their hunting of you. And the first way is to acquire the beacons that you can get from Barracutia. Now, I wasn't able to get the exact prices because this was kind of like a last minute, oh shit, what can I talk about? So I didn't get the chance to look at the prices. But you do get the beacons, and there are beacons for the other Tenno hunters also. And secondly, after completing invasions consecutively going against the Grineer, you can cause a chance encounter of the G3 during a mission on a Grineer-based tile set. So I actually didn't know that it had to be 5 consecutive invasions myself, so this was actually quite a interesting little bit of tidbit of information to find. And now going into the members of the G3. So first off, you've got Leektor. He wields a manticore skinned axe and flash grenades. So he's the annoying bastard that's constantly throwing grenades that blind you. Incredibly annoying. So all drop from him are at 20% drop rate. And they are the 3 basic multi-shot mods: Natural Talent and 80 Endo. So the 80 Endo, not such a great reward. I mean, for fighting the Grustag 3, you'd kind of want more. Natural talent, it's a mod that increases your casting speed of abilities. It doesn't work with every ability. There are select ones it works with. I think it's really good on Limbo for stasis and cataclysm. And then, of course, the 3 basic multi-shot mods, which are Barrel Diffusion, Hell's Chamber, and Split Chamber. So 20% drop rate from the first of the G3. Going into the second one, Shiktal, he wields a modified Merlock that fires small rockets, and he's also the guy that has the giant shield. So he's that pain in the ass. He has the exact same drops at the exact same drop rate, so it's nothing really new or fancy about him. And then you have Tabuk, the leader of the G3, and he wields a modified Heck that fires electro shells in bursts of around 10. So if you get hit by all of them, you are dead. It's gonna hurt. So he has the same drops as the other 2, but at 10% each. And he also has, at 25% drop chance, a Scimitar Fuselage blueprint, which is for one of the different drop ships you can acquire, or the Bruck blueprint. And I know this is one that you're after, Greg, so...
Yeah.
But there is another member, well, kind of another member to the G3. It is the Caribus Sentinel. Now, each of the G3 members has one of these Sentinels, and I can tell you they are pain in the ass, especially if you're running low-level missions and have to deal with Grustag 3. Because each one is equipped with a laser rifle, and if you are knocked down by the G3 in normal missions, including the Pyrus project, then this little drone will break away from its elite Grineer member, hover above your corpse, and deploy a shield which actually prevents the frame from being able to be revived by its friends. So essentially, you need to kill that Sentinel. It's a pain in the ass. If you are defeated by the G3, then it is an automatic fail, and you return to your dropship with a major debuff. And Lotus will pop up, giving you a bit of a message saying you failed, pretty much. You got caught. Be thankful you managed to escape their grasp. But it was at a price, and what that actually happens is they leave a what's called a Grustag bolt equipped to you, and it's quite distinguishable. You'll see on your shoulder they'll have like a Grineer symbol in place of where the clan emblems and whatnot usually are. So instead you will have Grineer based symbol, and what that means is that whenever you go to do any Grineer based missions, while you have this equipped, you will do negative 50% damage to all Grineers.
Bastards.
Lotus is nice enough to actually give you a device blueprint that allows you to remove this, and it kind of acts very much the same way as how Vor captures you at the beginning. So yeah, just build that up and get rid of the symbol. I mean, it looks absolutely badass. I seriously wish you could actually keep the emblem after, but the emblem is only available if you're essentially nerfed by the Grineer.
Yeah, it is a pretty cool one, actually.
It's actually probably one of the better looking emblems, and I would say it's probably one of my favorite debuffs. Like, I don't make it a habit of mine to get caught by the Grustag 3, but just knowing that if you do get caught by them, you've got to make a blueprint. You've got to make a device to remove it, or negative 50% damage to all Grineer. Like, wow.
Yeah, and the Grenier are among the hardest in the game too.
It's
'cause
amazing.
So much bloody
And now,
armor.
just a little bit of
Bastards.
lore that I found out, and I found this quite interesting, especially with how the G3 intertwined into the Pyrus event. When they actually had the G3 made, essentially, I mean, they were crazy lunatics. They were Grenier soldiers who went crazy and killed their own men out of sheer boredom. And Vahek actually sentenced them to a Grenier mental asylum and had a Grustag bolt equipped to each of them as a way to monitor and control them himself. It was actually Sargus Rook who was against the use of the G3,
That's awesome.
believing that the Grustag bolt would not be strong enough to maintain control over the G3. So this actually made me wonder, why the hell in the Pyrus project is it Sargus Rook sending the G3?
Yeah, good point. That is interesting. Another whole theory.
Yeah. I mean, you can actually go check out the Warframe wiki page, and you go to the G3, and it will have a little blurb there that kind of explains that Sargus Rook, what exactly Sargus Rook said to Vahek about this, and basically saying he's crazy, you'll never be able to control them, reliability, and they should just be sentenced to death because they're betrayals.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is cool.
But no, that pretty much ties up part one of the Tenno Hunters. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Greg?
No, I do need natural talent. To be honest, I've been wanting to get that for a while. I just never looked into where it drops from, so now I know. And the good thing is I need to get the rest of the bloody BRAC components. So I guess I can farm for multiple things now while I'm at it. So thank you, Lucas. That helped. Plus, it was really interesting to hear the lore because I'd never looked into them at all, and now I think they're super cool, and I want posters of them in my bedroom.
Okay, whatever floats your boat.
My boat is floated. No, that was really cool. So I'm pleased. Thank you, sir. All right. So do you know what you're going to go into next week?
I'm thinking next week will be the Zanuka.
Zanuka project. My Zanuka.
I find the Zanuka
project.
quite interesting,
Right.
so I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it is very interesting, and there's quite a shitload of lore behind it as well. All right, on to our community call out. Now, this week we have mainly cookies, so I will handball the cookies to Lucas. Enjoy.
Well, we actually only have one cookie call out this week, and it's actually to Hot Cheese. As you're probably well aware, the Cephalon cookie call outs are mainly to our Discord, and I have to give the community cookie call out to Hot Cheese 13 this week for his sparking up conversation with our other Discord members and trying to find out what it is people, what kind of goals people have set themselves in game. I know you, Greg, got quite involved in this one a bit, as I think the initial spark of this was because of your little goal that you'd given yourself.
Yes, and just an update for anyone who actually cares. I'm almost done. I only have 4 left.
4 left. And four left of what? Exactly.
4 secondaries left. So I have to do the BRAC, the Despair. So those two are just long shots. The Spira Prime, which is a massive long shot because it's going for like 250 to 300 plat at the moment because it's bolted. And I just... Spira Prime, I just cannot justify paying that much for a weapon that I'm just looking to get the mastery for. And the last one is the Sancti Castanas. So that's the only one I have to do now. The other 3, I'm sort of resigned to the possibility that I might not be able to do them. I think I can farm for the BRAC. Despair is going to be a bitch. And Spira Prime, I just don't know if I can do it. But my goal is to have... My goal is to have all of the secondaries done before Fortuna's released. But if I can do all of them except for those 3, I'll still be pretty happy. So I'm only one off.
Well, you'll be happy to know. I'm looking at my new Loca reputation now. I'm sitting at 83,000. So 13,000 and I'll buy you those Kastanas.
Whoa, you've been saying that for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, but I haven't really been doing much, have I?
Get that sigil on you, buddy. Come on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a sigil on my Revenant.
Stick a leaf on your back. That's what the new Loke is all about.
Yeah,
Come
I'm
on.
pretty sure he's on Revenant.
Put that...
Maybe.
like-
Yeah, I think it's on Revenant. Anyways,
Anyway, I do have to say, Hot Cheese 13 has been really, really active in our community. So thank you. And he or she, you,
person of interest.
Hot Cheese.
Person of interest.
You have been really
Hot
active.
cheese.
Person of interest. And everybody loves hot cheese too, whether it's gone
like
crispy or whether it's just melted. Either way, it's delicious. So thank you to Hot Cheese for being freaking awesome. There's one more. We've got another call out.
Another call out. Now this one's not a cookie call out, but it's a call out all the same. And this one is for one of our members of our Facebook community. I'm not going to go into his last name, just his first name. So Darren, thank you so much for your contribution over the last week. Now, you actually came to us and gave us a brilliant idea of a Viking-based warframe. Now, I got heavily involved in the discussion of abilities and whatnot, and I'm pretty sure Greg as well at one point. And one of the things that was actually brought with this idea was that it would implement a very much like an Equinox system where one of the abilities would swap you between modes. And one of the things that we actually kind of talked about was if you're in an offensive stance, you'd have exalted dual wielding axes, and with that you'd be able to do passives that would essentially boost your allies' melee capabilities, like melee attack speed, attack damage, all that kind of stuff. But then if you swapped into the defensive stance, you would have an exalted sword and shield, but the sword would be fashioned into a axe. And with this, you would do more defensive buffs and a bit more crowd control and stuff like that. So this was a fantastic idea. And I even went down at one point to maybe you could even turn it into a Spartan frame. These are the kind of conversations we want to see on our Discord, our Facebook, Twitter even. This is the kind of stuff we want to see. We want to see your ideas about how you would implement a certain aspect into the game, because this is amazing. This is the kind of stuff I thrive to read.
Yeah, that was really cool. Everyone loves a Viking, and if you don't know about me, excuse me, I like to clear my throat a lot, but I like metal music, and I like Viking music.
All the judging.
Don't judge me. Don't judge. Go with it. Go with the flow. So, I was saying to Darren on there that I'd just love to use those dual-wielding axes while listening to a monomath, and that would just make my day, and that would instantly become probably my favourite warframe, regardless of any of that other shit Lucas was talking about. I just want 2 axes and just cut dudes up with them. Anyway, excuse me, I got carried away a little bit there. But, and I'll do another quick call out to Darren because he did make a comment while we were recording this episode. So, hat tip to Darren. Anyway, thank you for listening to this episode. We've gone through a hell of a lot of stuff. It was pretty lengthy. It was pretty, hopefully good. I will... Next week, hopefully, we are expecting there's going to be another dev stream. We're not sure yet. It hasn't been announced. We don't know. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully there will be, but otherwise, please hit us up and ask us to be our community guest star. We do need 1, 2, 10, 100. Nothing to be afraid of. We don't bite much. A little bit, maybe a little bit of biting involved, but it's gentle biting, and it's usually with tender loving care. Anyway, thank you again. You know how to get in contact with us. We've got Facebook, Twitter, Discord, email, YouTube, all that kind of fancy stuff. It's all Cephalon Squared. Often it's one word. We have 2 pages actually for Facebook. We've got a Facebook page, which a lot of people are following us on. Thank you, but we don't share a lot on there. We share most things, and we have most of our conversations on our group, which is called the Cephalon Collective. So please join that as well. If you are a member of our page, you can join the group fairly quickly. It's in the top right-hand corner of the page as well. Twitter, Cephalon Squared, that's us. Discord, you need to find the invite link on our Facebook and Twitter pages. They're pinned to those things with a dagger. Email is cephalonsquared@gmail.com. YouTube, you guessed it, it's Cephalon Squared. I have to update it still. I'm not very good at that. You can also send us messages via Anchor, which nobody has been doing, which really annoys me because it seems really cool. It seems like a cool technology. I'd love to be able to just press a button right now and have your message included on our podcast, but I can't do that because nobody's using it. Give it a shot, people. Also, give us give us a rating.
Appease the Greg.
I'm easy to appease. Let's face it. I'm a pretty okay kind of easygoing kind of guy. I am an Aussie. That's what we are. Give us a rating on your podcast platform. It does help us grow. It helps people understand that we exist. We're happy with the way we're growing, but we'd love to grow faster. We'd love the community to grow faster because that would mean more discussion, and that's what we're looking for. Anyway, I am Greg Newbegin, Cephalon Greg. My Twitter name is Mad Capsules. In fact, I'm pretty much Mad Capsules anywhere. If you look for someone called Mad Capsules on any platform, it's probably me, except for Xbox. Anyway, Lucas, who are you?
I am Silverlight, SILVRLGHT. Find me on Twitter. That's pretty much the only place you can really find me. Hopefully that changes soon. Yeah, I'm never really been much of a social person.
Be social. Install Discord on your phone, for God's sake. Anyway, behind the curtains. Thanks also to Jan Disco_box on Twitter for our fancy introduction and outro. He's also done a new intro for our new mini episodes that are coming up soon. He is for hire. Disco_box on Twitter. Hit him up. Send in your photos. I don't even know what that means, but I said it. Thank you again. Thank you again for listening. We will have the mini episode coming out in a few days, so hopefully it's good. I did notice that there was a little bit of choppiness with at least Lucas's recording on this episode, maybe also mine. So, like I said, we use Zencaster today. If it's not ideal for us, we will switch. We don't want it to be annoying sounding to you good people. So please let us know what the quality was like on your side. We will listen as well, but we need feedback from people because, we might be more lenient on ourselves than you might be. So I'm not. Whether or not people like it. We probably wouldn't be, but, we want people to tell us their thoughts. So please do.
I am my own worst enemy.
You are. Do you need a hug?
Yeah, maybe.
It'd be a long distance hug because you're like 2,000 kilometers away, but I reckon I could do it. I'll drive all night.
Well, I'd like to see that.
Anyway. All right, guys. Thank you again for listening to episode 12. We'll be back next week with episode 13. In the middle of the week, we will have our first mini episode.
Exactly. We'll be back
to
a lot sooner than you think.
We will, and hopefully the audio quality, the audio issues, if there are any, will be fixed. So thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Cephalon Squared. If you'd like to contact us, send an email to cephalonsquared@gmail.com or get in touch via Twitter or Facebook. You can also join our Discord or send us a voice message via the Anchor app. See you next week.
podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.